All right, today, guys, we have a special case for you. We have a 1990 Subaru Legacy, first of its kind. This was the first model Legacy that Subaru ever made, and this is a special car because it came directly from Japan. Not just built in Japan, but it was also marketed, sold, and driven in Japan for a number of years before it came over to America. Now, it came over to America to be resold, but before it was resold, it was test driven, and they found out that it had no fourth gear. Just wouldn't shift into it. Didn't neutral out, just would not shift into it. We scanned it for codes, and we're going to show you how to do that in this video. And we came up with a couple codes, and one was for a transmission temp sensor. We replaced the temp sensor along with the fluid, and there was no change. So now we believe we have an electrical issue, and we're going to show you in this video how we test the solenoid circuits and how we make sure that the TCU is sending voltage to them. All right, we're going to get history codes here. Now, we want to start and warm the vehicle to operating temperature, drive it over 12 miles an hour. We've already done that. Now, we're going to turn it to the off position, which on the ignition switch is right there. All right, now once we got in the off position, they want us to make sure the manual switch is off. That's the manual switch right there. It's off. Now we want to make sure the shifter's in park, turn the ignition on. Make sure the power light comes on right there. Bam, it is on. Now we're going to go down to the second page. Now we're going to turn the ignition switch back to off, not the long lock position, off right there. Now we're going to take the shifter. We got to press the shifter interlock here. We take the shifter, move it all the way to manual 1, turn the manual switch on. Now we want to turn the key on. We want to wait 1-2 seconds. Then we're going to move the manual to second gear and then turn the manual switch off. Okay, now we're going to wait another 2 seconds. And we're going to move the switcher to the third range and turn the manual switch back on. And then we're going to move it to the D range. We're going to wait 2 seconds, wait, and then move the switcher to the D range, turn the manual switch back off, and then we're going to take the accelerator pedal and and now we got codes flashing. So now we want to watch these codes. They're going to be long. So there's 2 long, and then we got 3 short. So that's a code 23, 1 long, 2 long, 1, 2, 3, 4 short. That's code 24, 1 long, 2 long, 3 long, 1 fast, code 31. 2 long, 1 short, code 21. 2 long, code 23. 1 long, 2 long, 1, 2, 3, 4, code 24. 1 long, 2 long, 3 long, 1 short, code 31. 1 long, 2 long, 1 short, code 21. 1 long, 2 long, 1, 2, 3, code 23. 1 long, 2 long, 1, 2, 3, 4, code 24. And that's how you get history codes on a 1990 Subaru Legacy. Any 1990 Subaru, probably the same procedure here. Now this is a JDM import, should work on the Americans the exact same way. Okay, so we got codes. Now what do they mean? So when you have 3 long and 1 short, that is code 31. Now we go up here and we can see that code 31, especially on the Legacy model, has to do with the throttle sensor, which we were having a problem with. So that's the main code I want to look at. Now we have 3 other codes here, 21, 23, and 24. Now 24 is a duty solenoid C, 21 is a temp sensor for the transmission, and then 23 is an engine revolution signal. I'm thinking we need a TCU, but we need to confirm that first. So to confirm that, I have a test we're going to do, and we're going to use one of our homemade test kits, which is a test light. Patent pending on this, by the way. This was something we built, or not we, something John built, Pops built, my dad built a few years ago, just a few, probably about 15 to 20, to test shift solenoids on a transmission. Now, the way it works is when a computer actuates a solenoid, especially on one of these older cars, and that's mainly what you need to use this for. When a solenoid is actuated by the computer typically either sends one of two things to the solenoid. Either sends a good ground, which the solenoid is already provided with voltage, so a good ground completes the circuit and sends voltage to the solenoid, or it just sends it plain old voltage to the solenoid, and the solenoid has its own ground where it grounds out. In this case, the transmission control module is sending voltage to the solenoid. Now, we need to verify that that's happening or not happening. If it's not happening, then we know we got a problem in the TCU, and we need to research this code a little more that's causing this not to happen, the AT temp code. If it is happening, then we need to take the transmission out and figure out why it's not hydraulically shifting when it's commanded to do so. Is really, these all have their own power and ground supply for these lights. Now, when we're going to back probe these into it, then we're going to pit these up where we can see them and drive the car. Now, how we're going to back probe, you see you got these for 1, 2, and 3. Well, we're going to hook it up to shift solenoid 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to see while we're driving the car, when we hit 4th gear, if it's actuating the solenoid to come on to shift the car into 4th gear. So I'm going to show you how we do that, and I'm going to show you how we set it up too. Let me get it all handled, and we'll be right back. Okay, so here's our setup here. Don't make fun of me. It's a little risky, but if it works, you will not be laughing. So, I still will be, but not you. All right, so I got some back probes here, and the way I back probed them is these things that I got down here. I had another one. I'm gonna set it back. Yeah, okay. So these things, they have a bed of nails in them. That's what we call them, a bed of nails right there. And they kind of clamp down on the wire, and then we'll get voltage or resistance or whatever you need to test from them out of there. So that's what we got. We got 2 of them down there. There's one right here, and that's on shift solenoid 1, and then that brown one down there, that's on shift solenoid 2. We got both of our positive lights going to it. I got them up here on the dash, and then I put my grounds for my lights just on that ground bar right there, and we should be good. Now we're gonna put everything over here. We're gonna grab a jump box and put it in gear and test and see if the lights are working. Okay, so I checked codes again, and I'm still getting code 31 and 21, so that's mostly our problem there. Now, I just want to confirm, I'm probably going to have to get these codes off to get it to do anything, so I'm going to have to probably pull the fuse again and clear the codes. But I just want to confirm that this is not, shifting it into 4th gear and we're not getting any response. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to drive it up the road, see if we get any response from the shift solenoid 1 when it's trying to go into 4th gear when we're supposed to go into 4th gear. If not, we're going to go ahead and get a TCM and address these both codes, and hopefully that'll fix it once we address these both codes. But we've already put a temp sensor on there. Now these codes are temp, sensor, and this one is throttle position. Let's see how good our test lights work here that we got set up. It's really, really feels like what I'm testing is the theory on how to test this. I got something dinging at me. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's freaking annoying. Alright, let's launch this test light here. Alright, shift solenoid 1 goes off at 2nd. So we should both go off at 3rd. Oh, shit. Let's not run the windshield wipers. How about that? Alright, let's see if we can get back down to 3rd gear. Alright, goes off at second. Goes off the third. Now fourth gear shift should happen about right now. No fourth gear shift. And there's no command. So we know that it has to do with that code and it's not something inside the unit. So he's probably going to need a TCM or TCU in this thing to get it to act right. And now you see we're back down in second. So now that we have tested the solenoids properly, we know that the TCU is not sending any voltage to solenoid 1 when we're supposed to shift in fourth gear. And that's all that really has to happen to shift into fourth gear. Now the reason for that could be two things. It could be a broken wire and it's just not getting voltage because there's a circuit problem. Or it could be something in the TCU not reading the trans temp sensor right and setting this code for the trans temp sensor. And when you set this code 21 trans temp sensor and it can't see the temperature in the transmission, it will not shift into fourth gear because these cars had a feature that protected the transmission's overdrive clutch and would not enable fourth gear until the transmission was at normal operating temperature. This has since been taken out of all the transmissions and was very popular in the 90s amongst all car manufacturers. Maybe this is why we see so many burnt up overdrive clutches in the newer transmissions. But that's another story for another day and another video. For now, you can just comment any questions you have on this video below and we'll answer them to the best of our ability. You can also like and subscribe, and you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. You can also DM any questions there as well. Thank you for watching today's video, and as always, you can just call me Eddie.